What is up, my friends? As promised, we are back with a late night news roundup here on Anfield Agenda. The stories that we're going to cover, well, some of them unbelievable. One of them being that Manchester United, yes, that Manchester United, are wanting to hijack a deal for Hugo Ekitike and bring him to Old Trafford. We're going to talk about Darwin Nunez' future and where he's open to moving to, at least according to Fabrizio Romano. A bit on Milos Kerkez and a couple of other interesting bits and pieces, including the results of some of the polls that we ran tonight on the channel. If you would like to take part in these polls, by the way, well, we first post them into the WhatsApp channel. So scan that QR code on the screen to join the other 4,500 people who have become part of our Anfield Agenda WhatsApp community in our very first week of launch. On top of that, we have our last ever Irish stage show coming up August the 8th at Cypress Avenue in Cork. The only caveat to this one is that it is an over 18s event. If you'd like to come and see us for the last time in Ireland, you can get your tickets with the QR code that was on the screen or in the description of this video. Right, let's get cracking. Let's start off with some of the polls, let's say. So Luis Diaz looks like he could well move this summer. Maybe he doesn't, but there's been links to him going to Barcelona, and that got us thinking, who are the options? Well, one of the options that became, a little bit clearer today is Bradley Barcola. PSG say they're not selling him, but he has been linked with Liverpool in 3 or 4 different newspapers over the past 24 hours. We put that to the Anfield Agenda community tonight and said, would you take him as the Luis Diaz replacement, or is he the best one? 54% said no, 46% said yes. Let me know what you think on that one. And an even stranger one was about Curtis Jones. There's been a report that suggested that Leverkusen are keen on Curtis Jones and that Liverpool could use him as a make-way in the deal. Now, I asked the chat this, would you sell Curtis Jones this summer? And 60-odd% said no, they wouldn't, and I would very much be in that percentage. A year ago, maybe I would have, but right now, I wouldn't be selling Curtis Jones because 1, I think we need that Scouse heartbeat in the squad, and 2, well, we're probably going to lose Elliott and we don't want to leave ourselves short. So for me, never thought I'd be saying that, but I would be keeping Jones around. So let's get on to Fabrizio Romano and Darwin Nunez. He said that a decision has been made. Darwin Nunez will leave Liverpool this summer. He doubled down and followed up on that, though, a little while later, saying Darwin Nunez remains a guaranteed exit at Liverpool this summer, with Saudi Pro League clubs keen since January. Now, we know that Liverpool turned down an offer from one of the Saudi clubs in January because they didn't want to leave ourselves short for the remainder of the season. Fabrizio goes on to say, understand, also Napoli have made contact in recent days with Nunez on the shortlist, more talks to follow. Here's the interesting line though, Darwin open to both Saudi and European options. So keep your eye on that one. Now, while we're talking about Saudi, let's speak about John Duran for a moment. I guess this story started for us on the channel about a week ago. Somebody said, Craig, I've got mates who are working over in Saudi, and they said that there's news there that John Duran could be available and Liverpool's name has been mentioned. I didn't really think too much more of it, to be honest, but today, in researching and doing my work for the show, I was going through, as I always do, the Echo, the Athletic, other club pages, trying to find all the stories and see what people are thinking. And I came across an opinion piece in the Echo, and I do have to state, it is an opinion piece. And they say, according to Saudi Arabian sports channel Al Riyadiyah, Al Nassr striker John Duran may be looking for a temporary means of escape from the Gulf state ahead of the 2025-26 season. They cite personal difficulties that have impacted his mental well-being and, by extension, his form. Now, the reason I find this intriguing is if Liverpool can't get their number 1 striker target this summer, and I must say, I do not know who the number 1 target is, but if we can't get him, John Duran on loan for a season wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for me, especially allowing Jadon Dance to progress and then maybe a target becomes available next summer that Liverpool want. Now, I do have to say this would be a backup option in my mind, but let us know what you think about that. If Liverpool couldn't get, let's just play a game for a second and say it's Isak. If Liverpool feel like he's gettable next summer but not now, John Duran I don't think will be a bad show. He's gone over to Saudi and look, not happy over there for whatever reason. It happens. But he did do numbers in the league with Villa and he was doing decent in the Champions League as well. So for me, got to keep an eye on his, well, is he a cool head to have around the dressing room? A Colombian football fan in our chat today said, don't know about that. Maybe better off swerving it. But for me, it's an interesting one. So let me know your thoughts on it. Now, need a laugh? I'm about to give you one. Manchester United have officially entered the race to sign Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt. Contact has been made in the last 48 hours and the interest is concrete, said Florian Plettenberg. Now, with all due respect, if I'm Hugo Ekitike and my options are, let's see what happens with Liverpool, maybe Chelsea will come back with an offer, play in the Champions League with Eintracht Frankfurt, or go to Manchester United and look at other teams playing in Europe next season. I don't think United will be at the top of my wish list. Now, I'm also intrigued where the hell they're getting all the money from, because remember, Sir Jim Ratcliffe was firing, well, lots of Manchester United employees. Now, they've signed Matheus Cunha. They've done that deal today. They're still looking to get Mbomo in. And now they're talking about €100 million or £85 million Ekitike, who Eintracht Frankfurt have reaffirmed will not leave for less than that figure. I don't know if this is maybe trying to put a bit of pressure on Sporting to let Gyökeres out, but come on. United trying to hijack a deal with Chelsea and Liverpool for Ekitike. If Chelsea or Liverpool want them, he'll end up at one of those two clubs. United, well, that would have to be in case all else fails. Let's speak about some of the numbers around Florian Wirtz and Dominik Szoboszlai. Lots of people been asking, will Dom be dropped? Where will he play? What happens when Wirtz comes in? Well, let's look at the numbers from last year. And yes, they're in these different leagues. But in 49 games last year, Dominik Szoboszlai for Liverpool had 17 goals and assists. In 45 games for Bayer Leverkusen, Florian Wirtz had 31 goals and assists. So whatever way you look at that, I think Liverpool are adding to the firepower that we have in the final third of the pitch. So for me, don't be too concerned about who plays week in, week out, but just be concerned about the levels being raised up. And that's what this is all about. And the final thing we have for you this evening is a massive, massive hint from Milos Kerkez that he's coming to Liverpool. What is it? Well, it's a very similar picture to the one that Florian Wirtz took of the bottom of his legs and a pool. You might say, hang on, Craig, that's reaching. Is it? Same situation was thought of with Wirtz before he'd made his decision on who to join. I think this is Milos Kerkez once again letting it be known that Poole is where he will be. He will be a Liverpool player next year, and we await news on when that deal is going to be concluded with Bournemouth and he can have his medical. So that is it for me for now, ladies and gentlemen. The plan is to take Saturday off live streaming, but you know what that means. If I take Saturday off, almost certain that somebody's going to be brought up and signed. So we'll play it by ear. But for now, the plan is I'll be here tomorrow, 4:30, 4:45 video, 8:45 late night agenda and a late night news roundup. Saturday, though, I hope to have the day off. But until then, my friends, appreciate your support. Hope to see you in our WhatsApp channel soon. And thank you for all that you do for us. We'll catch up soon. Much love. Bye-bye.